Hey guys, this is Brad with Arbor View Properties. We're a house buying company out of North Metro Atlanta. We buy houses all over the Metro Atlanta area. Wanted to do a quick video today, and there's a question probably that some people are wondering: how much should I sell my? I forgot an E there. How much should I sell my house for? Well, that's a great question, and there's a long answer to that. And the answer comes back, we like to buy properties kind of that need a little bit of work, that we can add some value to. If we can't really add any value to your house, then it's not really worth it to us, right? You might as well just sell it to someone who doesn't really care about adding value. So you need to look at one thing. One thing that's going to determine is comps or comparables, okay? These are comparable sales in most cases, in your immediate neighborhood. If you live in a subdivision or a neighborhood, the best comparables are going to be in your neighborhood, because most of those houses were built around the same time, generally by the same builder. They're generally, maybe there's a handful of different floor plans, and they're all very, very similar in terms of size, square footage, number of bedrooms, bathrooms, finishes, that sort of thing. So you're going to look at comparables. You can't compare. You have to think apples to apples here. You can't, if you have a house that was, it's pretty typical here in Atlanta, a 1960s brick ranch. Let's say you have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1960s brick ranch that's, somewhere between 1,300 and 1,500 square feet with a carport, right? That was very common back in the 60s. My grandfather still lives in his house he built in 1960-something in Powder Springs, and he still lives in that same house, right? And this whole street, all the houses look all the same. So if you're going to compare, let's take that 1960s house, you can't compare that house to the 1995 traditional 2-story, we call them 5-4 and a door. You have 5 windows upstairs, 4 windows downstairs, and a door in the middle. That's like a traditional, almost like a Georgian style is what they call it. It's a traditional style house. It was pretty common back in the late 80s through about 2000. That was a pretty common style of house. In the mid 2000s, the craftsman style kind of started coming into play. People started building craftsman style houses, although a lot of them aren't technically really craftsmen. They're more of a traditional with some craftsman elements. And then now the whole movement is going to these modern farmhouses, which are sort of like a craftsman style house, but with a little bit more simpler trim, a little bit more farmhousey, a little bit more rustic looking. Anyways, you can't compare the brick ranch house to the 2-story. They're not the same house. It's apples to oranges. So you can't use that as a comparable. You have to use something that's very similar. And what that means sometimes is maybe you have to go out and I'm not an appraiser, but I'm a realtor myself. I have my realtor's license, although I'm not really a practicing realtor. I just buy houses nowadays. I don't buy and sell them for other people. I buy and sell them for myself. I buy my own houses, right, for my company. So I analyze a lot of houses. I look at lots of houses. I have to know what that house is worth when I buy it. So what we do is we look at, we're going to look at in the immediate neighborhood, and then we're going to maybe go out a little bit further, and then maybe we're going to go out a little bit further, right, and we're going to find this is your house here. Okay, that's your house here, and then maybe we find another 1960s brick ranch, and then we're also going to look at things that have sold within the closest time period to your house as possible. So if it was we like to do things within the last 6 months. Really, the closer the better, right? If your neighbor's house down the street just sold 2 months ago, and it's just like your house, it's a perfect comparable, right? And there's some adjustments that have to be made for bedrooms and bathrooms and features. Maybe your house has a screen-in porch, but your neighbor's doesn't, or you have also there's some negative features, like maybe if you have a really steep driveway, that actually detracts from the value, because maybe people don't want a steep driveway, or maybe power lines. We looked at a house a few months ago, and really nice house, really nice neighborhood, but their house backed up to high tensile power lines. Now, me personally, I would buy a house on power lines. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I know that it's not really that big of a deal, but there's a lot of people who freak out about that, and they don't want to have a house near power lines. They think they're going to get cancer from the electronic, radiation and blah, 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 blah. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but I'm willing to take that risk. But a lot of people don't want to, and we made that seller an offer, and she's like, well, you know, Johnny's house down the street sold for this price. And I said, well, but he's not on the power lines. He doesn't have power lines behind him. And buyers are going to perceive that those power lines are a negative thing, so your house is worth less. We made her an offer. She said no. That was fine. Well, I just looked at it the other day, and someone bought that house, and they've been trying to sell it, and they've done price reduction, price reduction, price reduction, price reduction. They can't sell that house, and ultimately their sale price is getting close to what I estimated that I could sell that house for. They're almost there. They're not there yet, and I'm doing the math based on what that person paid and what they're selling it for and their fees involved. And at this point, they might not make a profit on that house when they resell it. They might actually lose money. So you have to take that into account. You have to look at the comparables in the area and understand if you're getting an apples to apples comparison. Okay, another thing you need to look for is repairs. If your house needs repairs, you need to take that into account because repairs cost money. And if the nice house down the street that doesn't need any repairs is selling for $250,000 and your house needs $15,000 in repairs, well, you can't sell your house for $250,000 like the guy down the street, because whoever buys it's going to have to put another $15,000 into it to make repairs. So you have to take that into account, and so you should probably get some contractor bids and figure out how much that's going to cost and reduce your price accordingly, just to account for that. Now, another thing here is some people say the Zillow Zestimate, right? Zillow Zestimate. Okay. I use Zillow Zestimates in my business to get a general idea of about what the house might be worth or might rent for. But I take it with a grain of salt, and I don't put a ton of faith in it. It's just an estimate to get me in a ballpark. I've seen Zillow's estimates that are right on. For example, the Zillow's estimate on my house that I live in is about, I checked the other day, it sends me alerts. It says it's $357,000. I would probably sell I think this house would probably sell for $369,000, maybe $365 to $369 is about what this house would sell for. So it's close, but it's not estimate. And then sometimes I've seen houses where it says the Zestimate is $240,000 and the house ultimately sells for $200,000. You have to take it with a grain of salt. Don't put a lot of faith in it. There's so many variables that go into pricing a house accurately, and you just have to make sure that you're taking all those variables into account. And the Zillow, although their formula is getting better over time, it's still a computer formula, and it still has to take a lot of factors into account and average things out. And sometimes real estate's very local and very specific. And Zillow may not take into account the fact that you have power lines behind your house, or that maybe you back up to like a retention pond, or maybe you're next to a busy road, and that detracts from value. If you're next to a busy road, if you're on a double yellow line, that detracts from the value compared to the other house that's not on a double yellow line. There's so many factors, so you have to take all that into account. Now, if you're selling your house and you're going to go through a realtor, a good realtor is going to be able to tell you what your house should sell for, and a really good realtor is not going to overprice your house and shoot for the moon and hope someone makes an offer. That's a terrible strategy. You shouldn't do it. You should price your house right to begin with and not get greedy and sell it for what you estimate it should sell for, and not play this, oh, well, it'll probably sell for $260, so let's price it at $280. And then hope someone offers $260. The problem with that situation is people are afraid to lowball you an offer. If you're asking $280, they're afraid to offer you $260 because they don't want to offend you. So you should really price it at like $265. You know, if you think it's going to sell for $260, you should price it at $265 and hope someone offers you $260. You need to get as close to that number as possible. Now, some people may disagree with me there, but in my experience, you know, doing the houses and buying and selling houses and flipping houses, the best strategy is to price it right to begin with, move on. There's a time value in money. Time is money. And if your house sits on the market for 6 more months because you didn't price it right, and you got a mortgage payment on it, how much did that cost you for the next 6 months paying a mortgage on that house, right? What did that cost you? Probably cost you a lot of money, and most people don't take that into account. So I hope this helps. And again, if you want to sell your house just as is, you don't want to do anything to it, you just want to sell it, you want to be done with it, you don't want to mess with it, you want a fast, easy, painless process, reach out to us. You can call us at 770-810-5715, or you can go to the link below on our website, arborviewhomebuyers.com. Fill out our web form, we'll reach out to you. We can make you an offer, make you a cash offer on your house, and buy your house as is, where you don't have to do anything to it. So thanks for checking out this video. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great day.